Hello Kindred Longevity Lifestyle Designers. Happy Easter Sunday. And I've got some questions to answer. I've just finished a family dinner. Of course I was eating something different from most of my family. But I know I could eat with them, it was fine. You know, they always have questions, etc. for me. People seem uncomfortable if you're eating something different during a family event, but you know, they get used to it. So the first question I have is from Chasing Trains, and he's asking, do you use raw grains as a main part of your diet, such as raw oatmeal, that which you made in another video, and if so, what others do you eat? And yes, I do eat a few others. I eat sprouted buckwheat quite more often even than oatmeal. Other than that, once in a while I'll have some sprouted quinoa, but usually if it's in something I've purchased, like just actually yesterday I had a dish I bought, like a takeout raw dish that was like a stuffed bell pepper and had sprouted quinoa in it. It was great. For some reason when I usually do it I don't seem to do it very well, or maybe I just don't concentrate enough when I'm doing it and I end up fermenting it a little and it gets kind of funky that way. But if you can ferment quinoa, eating a little bit of it is fine. I personally find too much raw grain is hard to handle, whereas if you're wanting to do a certain amount of grain, cooking some of it is ideal if you're wanting to eat more of it and get your carbohydrates in a more complex form than eating too much fruit. And Emily asks, with summer coming up, I was curious what you think about using sunscreen. And I generally don't use sunscreen during the summer. I've already been sunbathing for certain set periods of time. In the spring we're getting a few sunny days here, so it's great. I can brush up on my vitamin D deficiency that I probably have from the winter, even though I was taking a few different things for that and trying to get out in the sun whenever possible. It's definitely no doubt that I was a bit deficient. I'm probably catching up on that now. For the most part, the only time I'll use sunscreen, I'll use a completely organic, natural-based sunscreen that I could even eat if I wanted to. Just so I'm not putting any toxic carcinogens on my skin, which are worse off than getting excess sunlight in the first place. But I'll use it on my face if I do know I'm going to be outside during peak hours, which is between, well, during the prime of summer at my latitude. It's basically between 10 and 3 during the summer. That time frame gets shorter and shorter, either in the spring or in the fall. And if you're in somewhere near the tropics, that's going to be year-round, that you want to really avoid direct sunlight during that time because it's the most intense. You're getting the most UVA, which is the one that causes, damages your genes. It damages your genetic structure. It damages your skin, and it's what people say contributes to skin cancer. However, there's definitely more components to skin cancer than just exposure to the sun. So yeah, I do recommend a sunscreen if you're getting a lot of exposure at the peak times, but you want to avoid, and actually I only just use it on my face. If I'm going out, it's better to cover up and wear a hat, so you're not having to put that on. But I definitely get fully exposed without sunscreen on my skin for a certain amount of time during summer almost every day, and that's the ideal for optimal vitamin D levels. Next question is from Joey's123321, and he's asking, what are your long-term goals for calorie restriction? Are you going to aim for half the recommended calories or maintain and eat what you feel like, instead of maybe aiming for a specific number? I guess maybe you could maintain what you currently eat and increase your muscle mass, etc. And he's got another question I'll mention after that too. I'm not a strict caloric restriction advocate. I'm young, so it's not necessary for me. It's said that the ideal is to only start it once you're past 30. The whole, like, the calorie counting aspect of it, which you see in some caloric restriction programs, really stems from that sort of extreme type A personality, almost too much so logical, right brain thinking, or left brain logical. Of course, if you need to be specific and make sure you're getting all your different nutrients to be successful with calorie restriction, optimal nutrition. But on a raw food diet, you can definitely easily eat less than your necessary calories and get all your nutrients. So over the long term, I'll probably eat less and less as time goes on. I don't think I'll ever do it to the point fanatically where it might harm me. I am not interested in losing weight in terms of body mass just because I might perceive that that's better for my health. I think when you're going into catabolism, which is the using up of your own flesh in terms of your muscle mass, that's not good for your health at all. And actually, you should be able to maintain and even increase muscle mass while on a caloric restriction diet, which doesn't make sense to most people because people think you need to like eat a gazillion calories a day to gain muscle mass, but that's just not the case. You need to actually be absorbing what it is you're eating. So in cases like Wade Lightheart, who's, or if you want to search his name, it's usually his old name is Wade McNutt. He's changed his name to Wade Lightheart, and his website, I believe, is wadelightheart.com, and he is a professional bodybuilder, or ex-professional bodybuilder, who eats mostly raw, I believe, and he eats around 1,800 calories a day, yet he's over 200 pounds, really thick guy, and he's his key that he talks about is taking enzymes. He has a special type of enzymes that he sells called Masszymes, and I have a friend actually who, I'm not sure if he's still using them, but he uses enzymes in combination with a raw food diet, and he's able to eat very few calories comparatively to his body weight and size. That people that size who are bodybuilders would usually be eating at least twice the amount that he eats. Like, he eats about maybe 2,500 calories a day from last time I talked to him. But I want to get him on an interview at some point, so that should be exciting whenever I get that happening. Some of the other questions in that large question was whether I take resveratrol, and I don't. And again, that's because I'm below that threshold of that sort of age idea of 30. I mean, you can take these things when you're below that, but it does interfere with metabolism in a certain way, and it's not something I'm interested in at this time, but given some time, I probably will. It triggers the same thing as caloric restriction, at least on paper, but it's been yet to be demonstrated in human trials that it's as effective as caloric restriction. But if it is, we'd be able to take resveratrol and not even have to restrict our calories, because it would be doing the same thing that calorie restriction does. The next question is from Big Sup Daddy, and he's asking if there's any recommendations I can make nutritionally for an 86-year-old woman who's having a hard time getting over the sniffles. And to be honest, it really depends on the constitution of this person in question. If they have a very cool constitution, I would recommend things like aged garlic, astragalus root. I'll show you what the best brand of aged garlic, or even raw garlic if they can handle that, but kyolic is great because you don't have to taste it, you don't have the garlic smell, and it's less toxic on the body. Raw garlic can be a bit intense. The aged garlic is very usable in a time when you have a cold and you want to sort of bring up the heat level in your body, whereas if you're already someone with a hot constitution or warm, you want to use something cooling like echinacea, which is medicinal. You don't want to use it over the long term, but use it an extract or a tincture of that in those times to bring down the onslaught of whatever illness you have, to boost the immune system. Another great herb is Osha, which is spelled O-S-H-A, and it's a warming herb from North America, and it's almost better than echinacea in an instance where someone's recovering from an illness, because echinacea has been shown to not be as effective once you're already in the midst of being sick and recovering, but it's more effective for prevention and blood purification, and also once you're like really just starting to feel something come on, that's when you use echinacea. But once you're in the midst of being sick and recovering, Osha is better for boosting the immune system to get it to get out this last, give a last push in that sense. Some other things I'd recommend are astragalus root, a Chinese herb, it's warming. Also Reishi and Chaga and all other immunomodulating mushrooms are very neutral. They're not really warming or cooling. Some are a little to one or the other, but they're really great for anyone no matter what their constitution is. And those are really the safest bet. And you can find them at the link below the video at hyperionherbs.com. There's a chaga extract and reishi extract. Those are the best ones that I know of that I've been able to find on the internet. And my friend Brendan sells them there. unfortunately, I'm going to have to go through all my videos and change stuff around or do something here, because I've been pointing to the right-hand side this whole time, and now YouTube's changed this on me. So thanks, YouTube. Really great. Anyways, ask questions throughout the week, and I'll get to them for next week's Q&A on Sunday. Have a great week.